Fuck it. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Roll. Oh,
shouldn't you queue up like some what was it, Captain and Tennille or the Carpenters, Muscat Love?
Is that a song?
Yeah,
we got a thing. It's called Muscat Love.
I think you guys just set a record. It took 28 seconds, and you guys are already fucking singing on a speaking podcast.
Yeah, well, 29 seconds, and you just demonetized us. Jesus.
We didn't do 4 bars. And if you call that singing.
Yeah, and there you go. The critique means it's all good. So thank you, John.
Yep, Brad H is already pouring bourbon.
Oh, nice. Oh, I should
this is
scroll over to the comments.
This right here is what held one of my bottle corks on.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
That's not a very tight seal.
Live on the edge. Living on the edge. There you go. I sang too. All right. Let's see. So John, yeah, I guess the Hawaii thing, if we get to it, which I doubt we will, but I don't know.
There's a lot to talk about in regard to Moscato.
Jeff, did you do any prep work for the?
Here's my prep work. I know it's not Muscadet.
Right here, Jeff.
This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be great.
You know what? If this wine shits the bed, I've got a Russian Imperial Stout on the side here.
Hey, here's the one good thing, John.
Yeah.
This is most definitely a sessionable wine. Well, depending on which one you got. It should be a sessionable wine.
Oh, this is now okay.
Oh, Solomon, that one is
alcohol says 7%. Yeah. So this is like.
So I've got. This will be fun. Wait for the show, man.
Second one is that's like an 11%er, isn't it?
Wait for the show, bro.
Oh man, I didn't realize I had a Riesling type thing on the back of the bottle. I don't know that I had much of a choice given where I went. So we'll just talk about it on the show.
Talk about it at the cabin.
Yeah, we're taking it back to the cabin.
Oh shit! This is gonna be a fun episode. I'm already happy I showed up.
I'm just here for the bad wine. Let's do this.
Why is this Moscato so chalky?
Mine tastes like mangoes.
Oh God! You saw that picture of the
strawberry, yeah,
strawberry. I did not get that one, or any that were within one bottle of it.
One bin to either side of it.
Yeah, right? I was like, no, we've entered the danger zone here. All right. Hey, Jeff McKinney. Or stretch it out, Solomon. Good idea. Get your pre-show calisthenics.
Oh, I'm just so sore from working out all the time, trying to win this competition that we're not publicizing.
Especially since I'm going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily proud of the numbers I have on the scale right now, but I swear I'm working out.
All right, you guys.
The milk of magnesia is not X-Lax is not a weight loss technique.
I mean, it could be. Did I ever? I've got an after party story for y'all. Not tonight, but one of these.
One of these.
Oh my goodness!
All right,
just say yeah. Oh,
cool. Here we go.
At the sound of the tone, the official "We Like Drinking" time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
Sure, why not? That worked well. You guys there?
You fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Let me,
Start take two.
La 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 la.
I just want to give everybody.
At the sound of the tone, the official "We Like Drinking Time" will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
This week on episode 312 of the We Like Drinking podcast, we'll be discussing Muscat, Muscatel, and Moscato. So crack open that beer, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking! Oh, listeners, like if you don't watch the show live, Jeff Solomon, when and where?
What? Oh, look, listen. Let me tell you something. It's this Moscato that does it. Every Tuesday night around 7:30-ish Pacific, as you ought to do at the We Like Drinking podcast. That's welikedrinking.com/show.
If you're not watching it, you're seriously missing out. As Brad H. just said, the flawless production value is why we all tune in anyway.
Yeah. We're all on our A game tonight. This is fantastic. If I may, everybody, I just wanted to take a moment. So, we record on a Tuesday night, as you ought to do every Tuesday night around 7:30-ish, welikedrinking.com/show. Record on a Tuesday night last week. Little did we know when we woke up the next day, the world exploded. I'd imagine those that only listen to the audio broadcast, who don't listen when I say to watch every Tuesday night. I'm certain there's some folks that thought we were just like heartless, like they're not even mentioning like what's going on in the world. And like I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the big elephant in the room. A lot of us are in a mood about a great many a thing, leading up to and coming out of this last Wednesday. And we just wanted to say, like, yeah, we're all kind of feeling it. This isn't the show where this isn't, I don't like to go on rants. This is not the show where you're going to hear that from me. But if you want to, if you're my friend on Facebook, I'm sure you'll get plenty of me yelling at you if you'd like. But just wanted to make sure you knew we were aware. We're not heartless. It was pre-recorded, and we love you guys. We love you.
We do love you. We are kind of heartless. I mean, that's...
Oh yeah, but that's when I play Monopoly. That's what I save it for.
Right.
Why you play Monopoly?
What's
Google
that?
and Facebook always win.
So cheers, my podcast friends, and welcome to Happy Hour 312 of your favorite award-winning topical beer and wine education podcast focusing on fun.
Fun.
So much fun. So many poop jokes. The chat's already out of control. I love it. So make sure you never miss another episode of our brand of drinking fun by visiting welikedrinking.com/subscribe.
Right.
John, you want to throw a subscribe in there?
Is there an echo in there? Room?
What?
Perfect.
Hello?
Way to play off the live roll. So let's get into this. Let's find out who we're drinking with, and we'll touch on what we're drinking as well. So we're joined by our usual panel members. We have our California Sustainable Wine Growing Ambassador and recovering wine blogger, Jeff Solomon.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Our commercial brewer and snake wrangler, John Ruyak.
Good evening, folks. I'm here.
And I am your host and certified specialist of wine, Jeff Eccles. Now, this week, we are showing you just how sweet that We Like Drinking panel is by pouring some wines made from the Muscat grape, a variety that creates styles that run the gamut from dry to sweet, aperitif to dessert, with everything in between in game. So yeah, guys, the Patreon spoke loud and proud and said you guys need to be pouring some Moscato in the glass.
I have to say something right now.
Uh-oh, here we go. Yeah.
Listen.
I'm looking.
I did not vote for this. And I know that, part of the bylaws is we have like our secret ballots. We don't have to reveal, but I'm showing my cards right now. I voted for Cabernet Franc. I knew our friend Lori from Dracaena Wines makes an amazing Cabernet Franc. I thought, hey, this is what we could talk about. And instead, our patrons let us down, and you will never live this down. This is bullshit.
We've done Cab Franc on the show before.
Cab Franc wasn't on the list.
Bullshit.
Oh, you got a write-in ballot? How do you do that?
The write-in ballots. I don't know where you were voting, Jeff Solomon, but you voted in the wrong. You voted in the wrong ballot,
motherfucker. So. You know what it was? I live in California, so there was like a box right outside my house. Somebody said, "Yeah, put your official We Like Drinking votes in there. It'll be fun."
It didn't get to me. Nothing I could do about it.
Shit.
I can't count it if I don't get it. Okay. So yeah, we've all got some version of the Moscato grape. Let's find out. Jeff, I think I saw a couple bottles.
I wanted to get a nice variety, as it was alluded to in the beautifully written intro tonight. The Muscat grape goes by a couple of different names. I think the one that folks probably gravitate towards the most, probably the best selling, would be something like a Moscato d'Asti, coming out of the Asti region of Italy. And here I do have the 2019 Sirocco, which sounds like a cruise ship that you would ride on below deck, I believe. This one is coming
like
in at
model.
could be that the Toyota Sirocco. This one's coming in at 6%. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming, along with the frizante that I'm seeing there, I'm assuming that this one's going to be pretty sweet. And then
when I used to work at a liquor store, I sold a lot of that bottle that you just had.
The Sirocco?
Yeah, a lot of Sirocco went out the door.
Very fancy. And then what I also did get was the Botani Muscatel, Old Vine Muscatel, from the region is Sierras de Malaga, Dominacion, blah, 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 blah. It's from Spain is what I'm trying to say. Ooh, this Muscatel right here is 14%. So, my deduction is leading me to say that I probably want to start with the Muscatel from Spain, because I think it's going to be a little bit more dry. And then I'll follow it up with the Muscato d'Asti. I
will be interested to see if that one is dry. My guess,
drier at 14%. That's
my guess is that it's not going to be dry, but we shall see. John Riak, what do you got?
Well, I was reading about Muscat and Moscato and Muscatel, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to go to TW and walk in the door and head over to the Spanish section and the Italian section and the Portuguese section. And, I just couldn't find any Moscato in that area. So the young man that was on the rolling ladder at Total Wines, I said, "Hey, dude, I'm looking for some Moscato." And he goes, "Oh, it's over here." And he leads me over to the bargain bin area of Total Wines and around the corner. And lo and behold, there was a very large section with multiple different colors of liquid in bottles and lots of descriptions about mangoes and strawberries and fruits and stuff.
Tell me you got the Earl Stevens Mangoscato from my boy E40 from Vallejo, please.
No, I they really don't have like a price structure on their shelves. It's like, do you go low, high? It's just all over the place. You've got to look, right? So I tried to look for something that was a little bit more expensive and had an Italian name on it. So I got Castello de Poggio, which is an Italian offering. They've been doing this since 1699. We'll see if 321 years of experience delivers on its promise. This one's 7% ABV. So, and on the back, it's got a Riesling like scale, and is telling me this is going to be semi-sweet.
Which, by the way, let me translate. That's hella sweet. Is what that means. Hella sweet.
Which is why I've got a backup of Boxing Bear Russian Imperial Stout.
There you go. I also have a couple of bottles here. I'm starting off with the Anno Domini Vineyards Moscato. This is coming out of the Veneto region of Italia. This is rocking the 7.5%. And then I also have from Forest Vineyards. This is a 2018 out of Southern Oregon Moscato. And this is coming in at a whopping 7.6% ABV. So I did see some of the 5.5s. I just couldn't bring myself, even though it was like a $21 bottle. I was like, $21.
This one sent me back $7.47.
And that's one of the beauties of Moscato is
so when you don't finish it, you don't feel bad about pouring it down the sink.
Yeah, I mean the $21 one that you're talking about. That's good. How much does a bag of sugar cost?
Now let's be fair. I mean, generally, a majority of the wines we be drinking are most likely do not have sugar added to them. Yours, Jeff Solomon, yours may have some grape juice added to it. Some unfermented grape juice. We'll see what it tells you on the palate. But let's get into these. Let's not taste them yet. We're not going to. Yeah, crack them open, John. You can go ahead and pour them. That's fine.
Okay.
Open the bottle.
Am I letting it breathe?
Yeah. Open it up. Let it decant it if you need to. For the love of God, please.
I find that I'm channeling my Gary V. I think Americans just drink their Moscato too darn cold.
And while they are working to open up their bottles, we're going to get to a little bit we like to call wine, beer, spirit, or pop culture reference. This is where I'm going to give these guys a term, and they're going to tell me if it's a wine term, a beer term, a spirit term, or some kind of pop culture reference. The term this week is wise. So is wise a wine term, a beer term, a spirit term, or some kind of pop culture reference? Let me check in the comments and see if JVB has already said what it is. No, he hasn't. So here, Brad H is saying a pre-emotive pop culture reference guess. Pop culture reference guess. All right, so let's see. Who are we going to start with tonight? I think we're going to start with these guys both look like they have it down. So I am going to go with Jeff Solomon first.
Hey, Jeff Eccles.
Yes.
Could you spell wise for me?
I can. Capital W, capital I, capital S, capital E.
Jeff Eccles,
Yes.
would it be irresponsible of me to put a period after each of those letters?
I think you could, but I haven't seen it that way.
Jeff Eccles,
Yes.
is this an acronym?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. I'll say yes. I can't tell you what it stands for because it doesn't make any sense, but yes.
All right. So, back in the day, going to college at San Jose State University, go Spartans. Hey, the football team was killing it during this asterisked year. Back in the day, we used to have parties in the dorms, way back in the bricks, as we would call it, specifically back at Markham Hall. We'd get 40 ounces of malt liquor. I was preferential to the King Cobra, because and some people think it's because it had the wide mouth. It's because it tasted better. But we used to talk about, like, look, if you don't like the taste of your malt liquor, you just didn't drink enough yet. Like, and we would put to the label. They're like, yeah, once you get down to about here, like, that's the flavor zone, right? And I find it only fitting that this is brought up tonight. This is, while co-opted from the 40 drinking parties of San Jose State in the late 1990s. I'm very old. This is actually, it applies tonight as a wine term. I'm going to call this a wine term. WISE is an acronym referring to, am I going to drink enough of this Muscat and Moscato and Muscatel to actually not mind it? And so the acronym WISE, W-I-S-E, is, will I sip enough? It's a wine term.
Nicely done. Nicely done. John Riak.
I've been racking my brain, and I'm just thinking of, and again, after pouring this and realizing it's slightly frizante, which may help or may not. But I may be part of the wine instructor's sobriety emporium or something. So I think this is a wine term.
All right. So John Riak and Jeff Solon are both going wine terms on this one.
Yeah, and mine, it's and not to make any fun of it, but there's an extra step in this one, and it's probably that step is pouring it down the sink.
These guys are certainly pumped about the Moscato episode. Dracena Wines says wine is so excellent. She's also apparently going with a wine term. Rhett is saying, will it suck enough? JVB, well, it's slightly effervescent. Everybody,
I do have to say, my favorite is our friend Laura in the chat is saying, "Go Spartans!" That's right, go Spartans.
So everybody is having a lot of fun with this, and WISE is in fact, we'll co-opt it. It's a wine / pop culture reference. I'm going to start with what it stands for because it's my favorite part of it. It stands for Vitis Vinum in Spatium Experimentia. WISE. I'm not sure how that wine in space experiment makes a lot more sense to me, but if you haven't heard, there is a capsule that just left the International Space Station, and about a year ago, we were talking about a company that was sending 12 bottles of Cabernet into space to leave them up there for a year before they brought them back to taste and run experiments on it. They will be landing in the Gulf of Mexico. I think today. They possibly landed on Tuesday. They may have landed. And so that wine is going to sit until the end of February, when some very lucky individuals will get to crack those bottles open, get to taste some of it before it goes on to experiments. So Wise, it's a wine / pop culture reference.
Yeah, enjoy your cosmic radiation, bro. I'm out. Next, I guess these folks are okay with arsenic in their wine too. That's why I only drink European wines. No arsenic.
No
sulfites.
I would totally taste this one. Come on. What were we talking about? Tasted the sewage treatment plant wine, but you're not going to drink some space wine.
At least that has some integrity.
All right, folks. Before we get into tasting this wine and talking about the Moscato, we want to remind you that Cody is in the chat tonight, and he's just going on and on while we're drinking the Moscato. That he's getting to drink some Dracaena wines, Cabernet Franc, that he picked up using code WLD at Dracaena Wine's website to get 5% off his sale. And hey, Cody, thank you, brother. We got 5% of that sale too. We appreciate that. You can get stop doing that, Jeff Solomon.
No. And what you don't know is I immediately take my winnings and I throw it into DFS tournaments.
It looks like you're milking a small cow.
I have two miniature. I've got a whole like floating miniature invisible like cattle farm in front of me.
I'm sure Lori is loving this plug. This is just going great for Lori at Dracaena Wines. If you would like the opportunity, you can't milk invisible cows, but if you would like the opportunity to taste Lori's amazing Cabernet Franc, eventually their Rosé, eventually their Chenin, visit welikeDrinking.com/wine. Check their wines out. Use WLD at checkout and get 5% off. We get 5%, and we would appreciate it so much. Anything to add, guys?
I'm just, the problem with the chat is it's just too good, and sometimes sometimes I lose focus. Oh, we actually have to talk.
It's the best part of our show. I mean,
it really. JVB is killing it tonight. He must be drinking bourbon. Is what I'm thinking. All right, so let's
look at that. Look at that one. They're drinking. They got the wine thief out.
Oh,
they're cheating.
Wow.
They're tasting it now.
I only drink Dracaena wines under a super blue blood full moon.
Hey, just remember they changed their entire harvesting schedule to do that for you, Jeff Solomon.
I know, and it was the best. It was the best vintage, that's for sure.
All right, so let's get to this Moscato, and see what we got. Jeff Solomon, you just want to taste it, or do you want to talk about it at all? You already touched on a little bit of this. What?
Look, it wouldn't be a podcast if people didn't mention like, hey, sometimes in R&B and hip hop songs, they might mention Moscato, but like that's a 15-year-old bit. Like, I don't think anybody is like singing corny shit about Moscato these days. What I will say is I'm going, as much as I'm talking shit, the reason why I love these tasting episodes is, it's a lot more fun when we get into wines, at least for me, when I get into a type of wine that I'm really not an expert in. Just like, when I go back to our first one where John was leading us through Russian Imperial Stouts. This is me. Even though I'm talking shit, I'm going in with very few expectations, and I'm looking forward to it. Traditionally, our buddy JVB in the chat, if you really want like the deets, he'll let you know. But he was talking about Moscato traditionally on the sweet side, depending on where you get it. Moscato d'Asti again is very popular. It's going to have some frizante to it. It's a white grape. However, there are definitely like different varieties of the Muscat grape that can take on different colors. You do come across those that are infused with fruits, which
with natural flavors in quotes.
Yeah, with certified color, you could probably find some of that. But and that's why, all jokes aside, I went with two like $18 wines, because I did want to try like what I would hope is a more typical traditional version of that, as opposed to, for some reason Eccles holds up the one from Southern Oregon, and I'm actually pretty intrigued. I've had Muscat from California, and of course, when I was much younger, getting into wine, anytime a tasting room was pouring Muscat, I was like, "Oh, I like this," and so I think there is kind of like that entry level component to it, especially if you're talking about a wine that is traditionally sweet. And if you don't know a whole lot about wines, you can kind of gravitate towards that and say like, well, I like sweeter things. I think that's something that's going to be helpful. But yeah, I feel like Muscat has gotten a bad rap as of late. But I'll also say, like, I don't think that it's not deserved in the way that some people have kind of played it out and taken it to this point where it's like, oh, here's this wine that I like. I'm not that into wines, but I like this. Into something like, we're making extreme Mountain Dew Muscat. And it's like, I think that's the thing that probably turns a lot of folks off. So I'm looking to be enlightened.
And that's great intro to it there, Jeff. I think a lot of people share those thoughts. There are some really interesting things about the Muscat grape, though. It is grown from all over the world. Like, it's grown everywhere. It's in France, Italy, Spain, as you mentioned, the United States, in Oregon, California. Australia makes some lights out Muscat, Greece, Brazil, and the list goes on and on of places you can find it. Spain, as Jeff Solomon's drinking tonight. And a lot of it is going to be on the sweeter side. You can actually find some drier styles, especially if you look at the Alsace region of France. You can get some Moscato d'Alsace, which can run a little bit drier. And there's a lot of and Germany, yes, JVB, don't forget Germany, and their style is a little bit more on the dry side, I believe, as well. Another really interesting thing about it is one of the oldest Vitis Vidium grapes out there. There are some theories that it is possibly the parent to everything that we drink for wine. That is not solid in the least. It's just a theory that's been out there because it is so old. And as it is so old, it's got a lot of names. Some of the ones that we talked about, there's Muscat Blanc is what we're going to be drinking tonight. That's the premier name for it. It's also, as we mentioned, Moscato d'Asti, Moscatel, Muscat Blanc, a Petit Grain, Muscat Canelli, Muscateller. There's all kinds of names. Now, what it's not is Muscadel or Muscadet, which I had a little problem in my typing with today, also known as Melon de Bourgogne. So a lot of confusing names
What about my sister lives in Noonan, Georgia, and she and my brother-in-law in their backyard, they've got this big vine of muscadine. Is that the same thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
But there's this grape is thought to have been around in ancient Egypt. That Cleopatra was a fan of this grape. So this is a grandfather kind of grape, and it gets a bad rap. You're right, and it is going to be a little bit sweet with what we're drinking, but it also has a good level of acidity to it, so you can get some balance to it. The other thing, I don't know when you guys opened it, if your nose follicles started tickling a little bit. These are very aromatic grapes and wines. Like, you'll get a lot on the nose with these, and it's going to be a lot of fun to get into. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with those. The guys are just lighting me up as far as JVB says the Alexandria wine theory. Yes. And Rhett, don't forget Muscat Automnal. That is going to be an Alsace region grape as well, along with Moscato d'Alsace. And they're generally blended together because they've got pretty different profiles that they work with. So as far as what you're going to get on the nose, you can expect a lot of citrus. John Maria, you're going to be excited about this one. Grape is a big descriptor for the Muscat wines. Peach, apricot, orange blossom, perfumey. You can get, if you get warmer regions, you can start to get into like lychee and a little bit of more herbal stuff. But for the most part, you're going to get citrus, honeysuckle, those kind of things. But I think I've talked about it enough, honestly. Let's get to these things. So was that a shudder, or were you just not ready?
A chill ran up my spine, it's a little chilly here in Albuquerque.
Let me, if I may, one of these things is not like the other. I'm talking about my
just doesn't belong.
I'm talking about my 14% Muscatel, old vine Muscatel from Spain. Because it's the outlier, I was thinking maybe I could do this one first, and then we'll kind of get into the other ones that seem a little bit more traditional. So this Batani old vines Muscatel from Sierras de Malaga, España, is it's a still wine. There is no frizante. It's 14% alcohol on the nose. Like, the very first thing that I got was it's foxy on the nose. It is American white table grape on the nose. But then there are like these beautiful like honey and straw flavors. There's an oiliness on the nose. Like it has like a little bit of it is reminiscent to me of like, a really nice like floral Alsatian Riesling. And I'm wondering if this is going to be one of those ones, as I think some folks were alluding to in the chat, that might be a little sweeter on the nose, but I think it might come in dry. It's a 14%er, right? Jess and Jimmy Williams in the chat, they know. So, I'm just going to go in and take a sip. Yeah. Not bone dry. There is some residual sweetness to it. This is viscous to the iscus, right? It's got like some a little bit of green apple, a little bit of like green like a honeydew melon, but it is salty AF. Like it is, the salinity here is otherworldly. Eccles is busting up. What's so funny? Are you the person who did you get a hold? Did you get a hold of the Drizzly driver that brought this over? And you're like, I'll show him. And you like you farted a Gewürztraminer into this thing. What's so funny?
So JVB wants to know if it smells like 1970s Alberto VO5 and Chanel number 5, or if it smells like Bo Derek's braids in the movies 10.
More like Bo Derek's braids on his. It tastes like them too, because I'm like, no, I will say this is, yeah. So if you're looking for a Muscat that's maybe not so sweet, this is it. I think that, man, the salinity on this, and I like a good like Albarino from Rias Baixas. I like salinity on my wines. This is like, the person who goes to season their food and they just do a little bit too much salt. That's what I'm getting on this, which I is a real shame, because I think it throws everything else out of balance here, right? But yeah, I don't know. While you guys are tasting, I'll pound these 4 ounces over here, and then I'll get into the more traditional one.
So really interesting. I mean, when you first started tasting, I poured mine. And my Moscato from the Veneto region, it's still got a frothy head on it. If I show the cork on this one, it's got like that mushroom kind of champagne top. This was the one that had the string on it to like hold it back.
Wait a second. Hold that up to the camera again. I need to see that mushroom tip. There you go.
And the thing I really enjoyed about this bottle is on the label, it has instructions for how to open it. And one of them was, don't hold it by the neck. You have to hold it by the base. Keep it flat when you open it. Like, I'm like, open up! What is going to happen? Right. It's like, don't Homer Simpson, Bart Simpson it and choke it by the neck. And so I grabbed my waiter's corkscrew and I started opening it up and I started pulling it, pushing it out a little bit. And it was like your first time open a bottle of champagne, like it popped off. And I was like sitting at my desk over my computer and had a panic attack that there was about to be frothy goodness everywhere, but it held itself in check. But this is a frothy beast, this Anno Domini. The nose is it's very I just looked at the chat for a second and saw reference. I'm not even gonna go to look at the rest of that. And if I give this one a little twist, it just starts foaming up again. This is like a beer on this one. The nose comes through. There's almost a little bit of a yeasty play to it, but there's that honeysuckle. There's definitely some citrus notes to it, and it's. I can't. I'll just go to the palate on this one.
This is a wonderful audio-only podcast today.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. Even with all that frizante, even with all those bubbles, thinking that may quell the shug. It may quell the sugar a little bit. This one is still coming through with a lot of residual sugar. It's very viscous. There's a lot of sweetness coming through there. And this one, it almost overpowers the fruit notes that are coming through. I am getting some nice Meyer lemon notes coming through that are really staying on the palate for a long time. But this does have a little bit of that cloying kind of sweetness that some people may not like. Now, this one has warmed up. It's been open for going on an hour now. It's been out of the fridge for going on an hour now. When I first opened it up and had a taste of it, it was really crisp. There was a touch of sweetness, but it wasn't too much. So, one of the things that with the Moscato is this is a wine that you want to serve chilled. And I think this one's starting to just warm up a little bit too much, and a lot of that sweetness is really starting to overpower some of the other flavors that were coming through earlier. So I just see that I'm just getting lit up in the chat over here. But John Riak, I'm going to go to you and start pounding on my keyboard a little bit, I think.
Well, there you go. So, as you guys were checking the aromas of your wine, I get mostly wildflower and a little bit of honey. Again, my sniffer is not working so great because of COVID, so that's still coming back, but I do get some of those sweeter notes. The front does say you should get some orange blossom. I'm like, no, I don't, but it could be just me. But I am still raising bubbles in mine, although I'm a little, this wine's a little older in the glass, and just a little twist doesn't get it to foam up.
Sometimes a little twist is all it needs.
That's for a younger wine. And as per Jeff's, get this, a lot of body to it. There's some nice acidity. I am getting some salivation in the palate, but there's a lot of sweetness in here. So I was reading notes from Madeline's book, Wine Folly and things. Goes well with Asian foods, and the thing that jumps right to my mind is maybe a shrimp tikka masala from an Indian place would be really good with this. So one of the things that we talk about amongst ourselves and also on the show is, we might not necessarily care for the style of wine, but is it well made? And I mean, my goodness, I mean, it's clear as a bell. It's got aromatics. It's got flavor. It's just sweet. So it's just not my style. I'm not going to say it's. I'm not even going to say I don't like it. I kind of do like it a little bit, but it's not something that I would go out of my way to drink on my own, unless, of course, maybe I knew I was making a fairly spicy seafood dish.
As Randy Jackson would say on American Idol, it's just aight for me.
Yeah,
it's just aight.
I will say,
I mean,
I'm gonna, just in full disclosure, as I'm going back into this Anno Domini, there's definitely some latex notes starting to come through on the nose as well.
Well, you know what this wine's good for. So I'm going now into the 2019 Sirocco Moscato d'Asti from Italy, coming in at 6% alcohol, much more pale color wise. Definitely the frizante-ness is there. It's more like Zima frizante as opposed to an IPA frizante. And on the nose, beautiful notes of again, like a ripe cantaloupe melon on this. Some citrusy lime zest and pulp, not so much the juice. And a little some river rocks, makes you want to go out, go. I don't know why this just on the nose. This is something I would love to have in front of me while up at Loch Lomond Reservoir in Ben Lomond, California, fishing for rainbow trout, skipping rocks, and just smelling this. It smells like that's what I want to do. Like I want to get my hands dirty and clean at the same time, if you know what I mean. And on the palate, big sugar. Oh my God. That is, I will say, that frizante needs to be there. That John Frizante of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It needs to be there because it is cloyingly sweet. And you just need that acid as a break to just break that shit up. I definitely, I see where John's going with like the Indian food. I'm thinking of like a really hot peanut based Thai dish. I think this would be fantastic with that. I really want to eat something spicy to, again, give me a break from the sweetness, but also there is going to be, and especially, yes, drink these chilled. There's that lovely, like, cooling effect that comes with that sweetness, with that sugar. You know, there's a reason why this would appeal to a younger wine drinker, because if it's this as opposed to, you know, the first time you took a pull off of the old bag in a box in the 1980s when your parents weren't looking, this destroys that. Just like, this is something I would rather have in my mouth, which is something that we all say from time to time. And so I will say there's that. I'm not into a lot of sweets in general. This is overly sweet, and so for me it just demands food. Plenty of ripe melon on the palate to go with like this rip roaring acidity, but man, this is so sugar-fied and candy-fied. You know, I go to the dentist every 3 months, but I think after this bottle, I'm gonna have to change the program to every 3 weeks. It's wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then let's wrap this up. Wow. I have the Forest Vineyards. If you're not watching the show, the bottle is beautiful. It's very sleek. It's very slender. The label is very high class looking.
It's a very Riesling-like bottle.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, I'm gonna hold up the run from Veneto. Still. A good head sitting on that one. This one, it's much more of the Frizante kind of look to it. The nose is really interesting. This one, again, you know, I wish I had an ice bucket here that I could have kept these wines in, that you guys could have kept yours in. I think there would have been a little bit more enjoyment if we'd kept these things chilled to the chilled.
In what way? How do you feel? I mean, do you feel like this is something that needs to be kept on ice like champagne to anesthetize my tongue? I'm actually getting a little bit more flavor and some more oiliness out of mine that Solomon mentioned. Now that it's not 35 degrees anymore, it's 52 or 55 degrees. So I'm not upset by that. You know, it's still.
You know what it is for me, John? It's like it's the soda pop paradigm. Like, do you want a Coca-Cola like at 68 degrees? I don't.
I drink Coke out of a can at room temperatures. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of things wrong with it. The fact that the Coke was there to begin with is an issue. But yeah, I mean, to me, there's the point at which it's so cloyingly sweet, it's not refreshing. And I think that's the problem for me. Is it's like it's mouth and throat puckering. There's so much sugar in here. It is like, I made a joke about a bag of sugar. It'd be like try to eat like a handful of sugar at once. Like, that's not, no.
Yeah,
it's not. I'm about to
it-
pass out just thinking about all the sugar that's in this.
I think you're exactly right, John. Like, I think when you get into it, I think as it warms up, you are getting more aromas and more flavor profiles, but at the same time, the sweetness is overpowering it all. And so it's a given.
There's that much sugar in it. The colder it is, the more viscous and cloying it's going to be. To my train of thought. And
yeah,
look, it's a personal experience. I get that. To me, if it's that, it's that sweet. The change in temperature doesn't change that. And to Solomon's point, it's not a refreshing wine. And if it's going to be served at 30 degrees or 35 degrees or 55 degrees, it's not going to matter one whit.
To me, you get more of the acidity and less of the sugar if it's a little bit colder. So it becomes, and that may not be exactly right, but it becomes more refreshing to me. And the sugar doesn't seem to last as long when it's chilled a little bit more. So when I opened both of these earlier and tasted them before the show, after I had just pulled them out of the cooler, I enjoyed them both a lot more than I'm enjoying them now.
So it's only 7% alcohol. You could probably freeze these in ice cube trays and put them in punch.
You could get these to a slushy factor, probably, I would think.
I believe JVB was representing Moscato slushies earlier in the chat, so I could see that. Yeah, and again, this is all just a play to get kids into drinking. I get it. This is the candy cigarette of the wine world.
So
this is the beef jerky in a tobacco tin. That's what that is.
You know what I really want right now? I will say, this one from Oregon, this Forest Vineyards, there is a little bit more pop to this one. There is a nice lemon lime component that's coming through this one, even as it's warming up. I am enjoying a little bit more than I'm enjoying the wine from the Veneto. Right now, I really want an IPA. That's really what I right now. Yeah, I don't even want an Imperial Stout. That's too sweet for me at this point.
This is a dry one.
Okay.
Honestly, I just want like a black coffee or something. Like, I
should have thought of that too.
Cook everything out of my mouth.
But I am glad we did this episode. We haven't done one like this in a while.
What do you mean? The patrons make us do this shit every other month.
I'll say thank you, patrons. Cheers. I'm gonna go. As John Nostradamusized at the beginning, I'd be dumping a lot of this down the sink, I think.
You know what? There's a young lady at work who likes this kind of stuff. She's going to get the rest of this bottle.
There you go.
So
sweet.
All right. Well, if we're talking about how we can't wait to get to dumping this out, it must be
last call.
Last call. John still has
call. I went to move my mic to unmute the thing, and I spilled a little beer on my desk. So,
no.
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't Moscato you spilled at your desk? That would be understandable. That's right. It's time to break out your phones and give us a hand. Follow us. Oh, John Riak, if folks want to follow us on the social media platforms, how can they do so?
Well, there's a couple places to do that. The first one's Twitter, and we haven't been banned. So ours is We Like Drinking 1. That's the numeral 1. Instagram's We Like Drinking Straight Up, and our private Facebook group. That's welikedrinking.com/tavern. You do have to ask to join, but we let anybody, and we're not very discerning in that regard. So if Knock on the door, we'll let you in. There's no secret password.
Yeah, JVB just said it would be awesome if all three of you had a dry wine from All Sauce. I think the response would have been much better. Would have been way better. I couldn't find one when I went looking for one at my local wine shop. I couldn't find one.
Have we done an All Sauce tasting episode? Just All Sauce in general?
I don't think so.
Can we do that, patrons? Can we do that? Can we like put that on the write-in ballot? I got a box outside of my door. You can drop it in.
Jeff Solomon, if the folks have some thoughts on the show and what we should drink, where can they go to leave a review of the show?
Hey, take a look at your phone right now. Those of you listening, I'm talking specifically to those of you listening to the audio only version. You're probably listening to us on Apple Podcasts. Go ahead and look at your phone, scroll down. If you see an empty 5 stars, go ahead and fill that up and leave a wonderful, wonderful detailed note about how much you enjoy all of the visual jokes that these guys are laughing at while you're listening in your car. I wonder if when you do eventually watch on YouTube, where you should mash the like and subscribe button, I wonder if the audio only people are like, yeah, the book was way better.
And if you've done all that and you're looking to do more, consider becoming a patron of the show by visiting WeLikeTurkey.com/pledge and find for as little as $1 a month how you can just keep this sweet moving train just chugging along so smooth.
Walter Payton in a glass here.
You can also find the show notes for this episode with all the links to the stories or mentions we had at WeLikeTurkey.com/episodes. All right, we've got John. Did you finish the bottle? It is sessionable. You're muted.
I drank that one glass and that was it.
Yes.
Well, I'm not. You know what? This may be a session wine, but it's no Chateau Perrier Merlot.
Well, we've reached the time of the show where I get to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around the table and get some final thoughts before we shut off the lights. Here we go. John was queued up for this one. John Ruyak.
Well, I was kind of torn about what to talk about in final thoughts today. I was torn about whether I should do a PSA about getting your skin checked so you don't have to deal with the same shit I have to deal with every couple of months and get something burned off of my head. Or should I rant about the fact that they put the fat-free feta cheese next to the regular feta cheese, and when you're in a hurry, you always grab the wrong one? I hate that shit. Why don't they separate them? But you know what? I really wanted to talk about, there's a special person in every teenage boy's life. And that's the girl you have a crush on, mom, that lives in your neighborhood. Everybody had a crush when they were a kid in high school, and their mom liked you. And you know why she liked you? Because you were no threat. Your daughter, you were never, if the girl you have a crush on, if her mom likes you, you got no shot. So just remember that. And the only reason I thought about that is because Tanya Roberts passed away this past week. And she played the crush next door's mom on that 70s show. So, a little bit of insight. If you're a teenager, you're not listening to this show anyway. So all the guys who are listening know that pain.
Jeff Solomon.
This thing's just been brewing inside of me, and this is what it is. Sparkling apple cider and Moscato d'Asti. It's the exact same thing. Like, for real.
Like the Martinelli shit you get for $1.99 for your kids because they want to have something special to drink.
For those of you that haven't had, I didn't want to call out Martinelli's, but for those of you that haven't had Martinelli's sparkling apple cider in decades, because you're a grown-up, next time you get a chance, take a sip. I don't think it's as good as you remember it being. It is fucking gross.
But the kids love it because they think they're pretending to have champagne.
Let's all pretend to be drunk like Dad.
It's the bubbles.
I have a successful podcast. Look at me.
This insight into New Year's in the Solomon household brought to you by
Martinelli's sparkling cider.
I gotta say, I tried mixing these two together. It didn't help much.
I was actually considering that my other one was like very salty and this one was sweet. Maybe it would come out tasted like some sweet and sour pork or something. But
I do. You know what? If we're mixing, some of the people at work that we got that pale ale called Musical Highway.
Yes,
and I also brewed that Mexican lager that we're just selling a ton of right now. So people are getting growlers and mixing the two together and calling it mariachi.
There you go. And with that, I'll say thanks again for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast.
Where you'll never drink alone.
This guy harmonizing up here.
I'm trying. I tried to go minor harmony at first, but it wasn't working.
Sound like you sounded like the lead singer of The Darkness when you did that.
I
believe in a thing called love. Just listen to the beat of my heart.
Stop recording.
A growler full of Muscat for JVB.
Honestly, I feel so gross. Like I feel like I need to take a shower after drinking. Like
I really want an IPA right now, folks. But as you're dropping off, we are drinking tequila next week. I mean, enough said. Look out! It's going to be
yeah. I got to make sure I'm not doing anything important at the brewery next Wednesday.
It's going to be a bumpy night next week. Oh, cool. I think that's a fine time to end the show this week. So thank you all for showing up. You're horrible people in the chat, and we love you for it. And we will talk to you all next week.
We love you guys.